Hello everybody and welcome back to a brand new episode of our F1 23 Driver Career Mode. Hope you're all having a great day. It is time to kick off an exciting Season 3. The biggest changes we've had between seasons yet. Season 1 to 2 wasn't huge. Between Season 2 and 3, however, major changes. Check out the off-season video, the last one, if you want to know what's going on. Big things here. Looking at the R&D, we unfortunately kick off this season a little bit further behind compared to last season as we have switched to Honda engines. Now I'm hoping to have a mod come in for round 2 or 3 where we will actually have the Honda engine sound in the car as we touch down in the Melbourne area. A bit of a dark and gloomy stormy day here actually when we touched down a bit earlier in the week, and that kind of sets the tone for what qualifying will be. It's actually supposed to rain quite a bit here Saturday qualifying, but we come through to Friday, free practice and conditions completely different. A beautiful day here in Albert Park now. As you can see, Max Verstappen returning for another season after so many questions on if he would return or not as we get ready and get acclimated with the team.
All right, guys, thank you for the work in the off-season, and thank you, Honda, for coming on board to work with us a year early. We have some work to do, but let's give it our all this weekend.
You hear Lawrence Stroll addressing the team. Of course, his son Lance comes on board as an advisor and in management role as well with Aston Martin as he pulls out of the driving scene. He's starting a tennis career as well, so we'll see how he does this season as we have our first crash already of the season.
Are you good, mate?
Yeah, I'm fine. It's just hard to drive. Only front wing damage, so we would get back out on circuit. But yeah, this car is lacking compared to what we had last season, and it's because Aston Martin has yet to upgrade some of their facilities to Spec 3. We're on Spec 2 for all departments that require upgrading the car. So we do have some Spec 3 upgrades on the way, and that will allow us to get back in the fight with the front runners. But until then, it's really just hang on, do what we can, because currently we cannot upgrade the car any further until those Spec 3 upgrades come. And I heard a Spec 3 upgrade is coming in the literal next episode, so it's not the end of the world. But you can see Saturday qualifying, it is pouring rain. It's going to be a challenging day here for the season debut. For 5 rookies, of course, in the grid, of course, including Liam Lawson, who's done a great job at AlphaTauri in real life this season and the few efforts he's had, as well Iwasa, as well Jackson, Butler, that's Aiden Jackson and Devin Butler, the 2 drivers at the brand new Connor Sport team. The Connor Sport team is the worst team on the grid in the R&D, so they have kind of got a mentality of just kind of getting the foundation set for this team and seeing what they can do for the big potential changes coming next season with the regulations. But look at this. Both of the Connor Sport drivers, Jackson and Butler, advance into the round 2 qualifying now, and we were now on the intermediate. So right at the end of the session, the weather had improved quite a bit, but 2 drivers, Lando Norris and Lewis Hamilton, the defending champion, now an 8-time world champ, has decided to not make a lap. So they did laps on the wet tires, and they were quickly dropping down the order to the point where they would both get eliminated in the second round. Our teammate of Sonoda P5, Devin Butler out, but Aiden Jackson, the rookie, P10. How about that for the worst car on the grid? That is absolutely mega. From Aiden Jackson, myself, Q3 got off to a bit of a rocky start here. Now, fortunately, when we're in the wet, I always leave time for a second lap in case of something like this happening. So we were able to still get a second lap in. Hopefully, it's mistake-free. Russell goes to the top of the board. My teammate of Sonoda goes quicker on his first lap time, but not quick enough for pole position. And nobody was beating Russell. The question is, can we beat George Russell? Now, as we come through the chicane, the conditions, it's just a heavy, heavy rain here, but just barely good enough to be on these intermediate compound tires. Jackson only going to manage P9, so he's likely going to be P10 unless I screw up, but we don't. We exit the final turn down this front straightaway to the line. It's only going to be enough for 8th. A very surprising effort there. Our teammate of Sonoda in 5th, and Russell gets the pole by 4/10 over the new McLaren driver of Alex Albon, who finally gets a deserved move up into a better car. We will start the season debut at Australia from P8. Let's get ready to go to the grid here for the Australian Grand Prix.
Months of rumour and speculation all come to an end today as we return to racing for the opening event of what promises to be an enthralling season. Welcome along then to round 1 of this year's Formula One World Championship. The Melbourne circuit is certainly one that needs to be taken seriously. It's a combination of slippery surfaces and difficult corners, making it a very tricky track when it comes to overtaking. Drivers find it hard to pass and will need to take full advantage of those DRS zones if they want to have any hope of breaking through. It's time to take a look at our starting grid for today's race. What a qualifying yesterday for George Russell. He'll start today's race from pole position, and Alex Albon lines up alongside. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Verstappen, Leclerc, Tsunoda, Perez, Gasly, Golden Boy, Sainz, Jackson, Oscar Piastri, Hamilton, Norris, Butler, Bottas, Liam Lawson, Ocon, Sargent, Teo Porcher and Ayumu Iwasa. And with lights out just moments away, it's time to go down to the track. A new season then, a clean slate where anything could happen. Natalie Pinkham is with me today as we get another year of Formula One underway.
Well, it's clear, very clear conditions, and that makes it clear for the drivers because they don't have to worry and have that added distraction of fickle weather. They can concentrate on the driving and not everything else around them.
Ready to roll here from Australia. Now a new era of F1 is about to get underway with all these rookies coming into the sport. We're about to see what kind of racecraft they have. Mediums to hards, simple strategy as we get ready to roll.
Here we go then, the formation lap gets underway and the excitement here is building as we near ever closer to the start of the race. Which team will come out on top? Who's got their strategies right for today's race? Well, we'll soon find out.
All right, team, it's Fernando here. Excited to work with you guys this year and happy to mentor Ayumu as much as I can.
As the cars come back towards the grid to line up for the start of the race, each driver will be wanting to get the best start they possibly can. And they'll be hoping to finish today's race on the podium. Failing that, then the points.
Hey Mark, I heard Fernando was in the paddock with his new team today. Does he want to come back driving yet?
No, mate, I think he's all good. I just saw him pass by a few minutes ago.
You heard Fernando Alonso there at the start of the formation lap on the radio to his drivers. He is a co-owner of the BMW team and a driver mentor, not for Valtteri Bottas, who they've kept around, but to Ayumu Iwasa, actually, the rookie there at BMW. So a big role Alonso's going to play. Of course, owns a large stake of that team. That is Alonso's team for half of it now, as we are going to be lights out, and it's underway for the season opener of the Australian Grand Prix. It's nice to have a season starting here once again. I love Australia so much. Russell covers off Albon around the outside. Max Verstappen, of course, the defending race winner last time out in Abu Dhabi for the Season 2 finale. Well, he was able to get that first and only win of the season, and here he is in a second place. Red Bull have found a lot more pace in the offseason this time around. They are here to fight again after they fell off a cliff. There's the Connor Sport rookie of Aiden Jackson. He was able to hold on to a top 10 spot here in this opening lap. Actually, I'm under pressure right now from Charles Leclerc. You can see him battling us now in that silver Aston Martin that we drive. It is, I mean, absolutely lovely to see a silver Formula 1 car back on track. Of course, it's not a Vodafone McLaren, but I think it looks absolutely fantastic. Of course, a switch up from the usual green colors for Aston Martin. Leclerc, I mean, just destroyed me down the straight line, so he was able to move up into P6. Jackson as well, the rookie. Look at this. He's putting some pressure on us. We're going to have to go defensive here. I'm going to swing to the right side. Jackson looks to the left now. The Formula 2 superstar trying to move his way forward, but we're able to hold him off. Now up ahead, battles between our teammate of Tsunoda as well as Sergio Perez there. Tsunoda moves up into fourth, but he would be very quickly back under pressure from Perez here on the very next lap, and actually contact between the two drivers up there right front of that front nose of Leclerc, but Perez gets the job done. So Tsunoda down to fifth, and he would quickly come under attack from Leclerc on the soft compound tires that Leclerc is on as well. It's making a difference early on. We dropped down to P6 and P7. Hamilton started outside the top 10. He's already up into ninth, making a pass on Aiden Jackson there for the 8th position. I said in the offseason, so Connor Sport's being followed around in their opening season in Formula 1 for a documentary series that might be going on to, we'll call it Formula Owen Flicks here at the end of the season, so stay tuned on that. We'll be seeing some moments from that throughout this season as they, of course, get acclimated within Formula 1. Now, look at the battles happening here. Here's Lando Norris. He missed, of course, Q3 with Hamilton after the wet wet tire debacle. They're also moving forward just like Lewis is now. And here's Lewis Hamilton now coming up on the back of me, lap 6. I mean, the Mercedes is so much quicker than what we were last season. Right now, we don't have that same fight in it. And of course, we're no longer working with Mercedes after a bit of a sour ending to our relationship there. Hamilton goes wide. We swing back to the right side, but then straight line speed again overpowers us. We back out of it. I backed out of the DRS too. I just said there was no point in fighting in that exact moment right there. So we settle into P8, but battles all over this circuit. This is a great season opening circuit. Here is Perez now on the inside of Alex Albon. Of course, Albon replaces the home driver at McLaren of Oscar Piastri, who was over 100 points behind his teammate of Lando Norris, so it made sense for him to get dropped at the end of last season. Oscar Piastri now teammates alongside Logan Sargent at Williams. Piastri currently runs 14th behind his former teammate of Lando Norris. Now Hamilton going around the outside of Tsunoda. I decided to do do a favor for my teammate of Tsunoda, let him hold on to the position there, but it was pretty clear at this very moment we have more pace than Yuki. So for the first time in this Grand Prix, we're going to go to the left side here and try to overtake our teammate. We're going to give him plenty of room there. We go around the outside. A very nice job, well done, and we'll move up through into another position, P7 and P8 for Aston Martin Honda. Right now is Sainz, P9, of course, the Singapore Grand Prix winner from IRL there. Aiden Jackson was trying to fight up towards that points, but Gasly now up into P10, and Jackson losing out to Lando Norris. But hold on, Jackson fights around the outside. This young rookie is on it here. He has come to fight now, and as that's happening up front, Sergio Perez up in third position, a mechanical failure, and he's going to be out of the Grand Prix here in Australia. Really unfortunate there as we get a warning for exceeding track limits. Tsunoda, Sainz coming up behind us there. Now, as you can see, Sainz going for that 7th position here, but Red Bull may have sacrificed reliability for that better speed now, as there goes around Pierre Gasly for a spin, and that's immediately, look at that, you see the sign flashing in the background. Safety car deployed as we have 2 yellows on the track at the same time. The pit lane immediately gets flooded. Albon's going to lead everybody into the pit lane. Russell and Verstappen stay on track. We're in, but you can see how congested things are. Tsunoda's waiting for myself to go. I do get through. We go onto the hard compound tire as well. You see just everybody is coming in. Here comes Aiden Jackson there for Connor Sport now. The softs go off his car for a brand new set of mediums. He cannot go because there's Logan Sargent waiting for his teammate of Oscar Piastri at Williams now in the Martini livery to go. It's just chaos in the pits, but everything eventually works itself out and gets sorted. We will be P6 for the restart here. So Russell and Verstappen, because of the delta, would be able to do their pit stops and still come out 1-2. So they will still be in control of this restart. Bottas in the BMW now in P10. How about that? BMW's debut taking over Sauber. Runs in 10th place. Very solid there. Connor Sport got both of their cars right now in the top 15, even with Devin Butler, who's been a bit down on pace compared to his teammate of Jackson so far. We're back racing here, just shy of halfway in this Australian Grand Prix season opener now for season number 3. 19 cars remain in this Grand Prix, of course, as Perez departs everybody with a mechanical failure. Like I said, Red Bull struggled so much last season. They only had 2 wins, one for Perez in Miami, one for Verstappen, of course, in Abu Dhabi for the season finale. But it seems like they've got more top-end speed, but maybe less reliability this time around. Speaking of top-end speed, that Ferrari is quick in a straight line. They have proved it all day long, and Sainz goes around me now, the Spaniard, up into P6 now as we got battles happening at the end of this lap. This is Piastri going at it as well. I mean, look at everybody under a blanket right here. Lawson going at it with fellow rookie of Jackson. You got Bottas, Piastri in 10th now. They were having a heck of a scrap down into turn 1, and the scraps weren't quite over for that group of drivers yet. Now Zal was holding on to P7. Tsunoda and Norris both closing in on me here, but watch this. Coming to lap 16, here they go again. Ocon now, a move on the BMW of Valtteri Bottas, the rookie of Lawson, a huge move around the outside that puts him into P11. What a move from the Alfa Romeo Haas rookie. Unbelievable scenes there. His teammate of Ayumu Iwasa there in P15, just behind Jackson. And then, of course, you got Gasly in the Alpine recovering from the spin, and well, Jackson gets the elbows out there, and he moves past Valtteri Bottas back up into P13, having a heck of a debut here today in the worst car on the grid, of course. And the goal for these new teams is Tsunoda's actually got a huge opportunity to pass me right there. The goal for BMW and Connor Sport are not incredible speed in their first season. Yellow flag up ahead. Actually, now we'll talk about that more in a moment, as it's going to be Charles Leclerc and the Ferrari arrival to begin the season with a mechanical failure. 2 mechanical failures for top teams today. Leclerc out of the Australian Grand Prix. That moves us now up into P7. But real quick, back onto the Corner Sport BMW teams. Their goals are not huge speed in their first season. There is 2026 regulation changes that are supposed to be coming, and that's what they are setting up for. They want to get a year under their belt to kind of understand and get sorted in Formula One. That's their goal. We're going to go through the grid for the first time this season.
Here comes a big move from Hamilton as he continues his epic charge through the field.
8-time champion he is now. Crofty, Max isn't going to give it up easy though, is he?
He gets the job done, however, as Sainz runs in 5th just behind.
Sorry to burn, guys, but we've got another development here. Max is reporting a loss of power. What was looking to be a good day for Red Bull is quickly going off the rails here.
Something is wrong. I got no power all of a sudden.
You hear his radio there, as this will turn into an opportunity for some other drivers to get an extra point or two.
Here comes Owen for a move on Yuki again. They've gone back and forth a few times today, haven't they? Piastri having a solid run in 9th as well in his first race after getting dropped from McLaren.
We also have rookies in 11th and 12th. Lawson and Jackson both having great runs today so far.
Aiden Jackson has impressed me a ton this weekend. Great qualifying effort in terrible conditions, and now taking the worst car from off-season testing, and he's running 12th with it. His teammate Devon Butler is having a respectable run in 16th as well, but this Jackson kid is going to be a superstar in a few years, I truly believe.
Well, there you have through the grid, and the lowest running rookie being a bit of a surprising one, Teo Porcher. I expected more from him in the Alfa Romeo Haas debut, but yeah, not really going well for him. Verstappen, you heard, having those engine issues right now, losing power. We have run him down pretty quickly. Lap 23, we have now gotten ahead of Tsunoda, and Tsunoda as well jumps back behind Lando Norris, who's on a bit of a run here late in this Grand Prix. We go past Verstappen. Pretty easy move into 5th place, but I'm pretty concerned about the pace that McLaren's putting up now. Right now, McLaren seems to be the biggest threat to kick off the season to Mercedes, who continues to run 1-2. Russell out in front over Hamilton. Alex Albon having a nice podium run here in his McLaren debut as well. Norris only a second behind as we have just 3 laps to go, so he continues to close in quickly, and by the time we approach, the closing moments of this Grand Prix, that being the final lap of this Australian Grand Prix, you can see the gap now less than a second. Norris now has DRS as we start the final lap of the season opener in Australia through turn number 1. Getting through there all right now as we continue on towards the end of this first sector. Look at the gap. Norris closing a huge amount. You already know he's on that DRS and that overtake button. He closes up to within a couple of car lengths. Set McLaren closed a massive amount very quickly, and now we're going to be under pressure on this final lap, I reckon here. We open up the gap to about 0.6 of a second, but now Norris closes it back in through the DRS zone, now through the chicane for the final time here. Tsunoda running P7 just in front of Max Verstappen. Here comes Norris putting pressure. I put the defensive line, but I lock up the right front wheel. That's going to send us a little bit deep into the gravel. Norris slips through on this final lap. As that's happening, Russell wins the Australian Grand Prix. Lewis Hamilton, the defending champion, the 8-time world champ, now crosses for second, and Alex Albon on the podium, but we're going to have to settle for P6. I just made a simple mistake right there. I locked up and I slid too deep into the corner. Because of that, we still cross the line for P6, P7 for Aston Martin. There's a clear bit of work to do to this team compared to where we were to kick off last season, and the job will not stop now as Lando Norris is going to get driver of the day.
That's it for another Grand Prix and a fantastic win for Mercedes. Natalie Pinkham, how do you think they were able to set themselves apart today?
Well, they managed their tyres to absolute perfection. A tyre whisperer, in fact. And that is what set them apart.
Last season, when it was myself and Fernando Alonso, Aston Martin kicked off the season with a lot more pace than what we have kicked this season off with. Mercedes is right where they left off, but Red Bull has made gains. Everybody around us has made gains, and we really haven't. And it's going to be down to that Spec 3 upgrades coming in to all of the upgradable departments of our car. Once those come in, we're going to be balling. We're just going to, of course, have to get those upgrades into the car successfully. But yeah, it's going to be a bit of a difficult start to the season, I reckon here. I mean, P6 is still nothing to hold our head down on, but we had 0 pace to compete for a win this weekend, so that was a bit frustrating. But, you know, it looks like myself and Sonoda pretty close on pace. P6, P7. Jackson, Lawson there, 11th and 12th. Great days for those two rookies. Piastri and the Williams getting some points there, kind of picking up where Albon left off for them as Sargent was all the way down in 18th. We're not going to bother with the driver's standings, of course, but as we end the episode, we'll take a look at the constructors. But that's going to wrap it up for me. I'll see you guys in the next episode. Where is the next episode? Azerbaijan, Baku City Circuit. I just had to go look it up with the new calendar that we're doing. So I'll see you guys for some street racing in Baku. Thank you for watching. Have a great day, everybody.